Welcome to Wicked FX Manor. In this tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to corpse up a skeleton. And for this video, I am just doing the skull and these forearms because they are going to be a part of a pit of hell. Now, if you just want to do the skeleton for like something coming out of the ground, that'll work too. But this is video to show you how to corpse up this if you've never corpse up a skeleton before. So I'm going to turn this into this. So let's get started with this video. All right, so there's a few things that you're gonna need. One is make sure that the table that you got a drop cloth or trash bags or whatever you got handy, just so you don't spill it on your table. Second thing you're gonna wanna have is clothes that you do not mind getting dirty, because they will get dirty. Now, to do the skeleton, here's the products that I have to make this look like something dead with some flesh still on it. Now, the skull and the hands look pretty good as they are, and I could leave it that way. But if you're like me, you like to make things look extra creepy and so to corpse up a skull and the forearms here, I got some cotton balls. You can use cotton sheets as well. Rip that up into pieces. I prefer the cotton balls because I can take little bits at a time. I need liquid latex. You'll need liquid latex for adhering the cotton balls. You're going to need a cup of water, and the cup of water is not to drink, but it is for these brushes here that you're going to use to spread the paint on. You're going to need popsicle sticks, and that's to spread the cotton balls and the liquid latex around to get it to looking like the flesh that you want it to look like. Now, there is no set way to do this. You can play with it however you want. I'm just giving you a helping hand on getting started if you've never done this before. Of course, you're going to need some red acrylic paint, black acrylic paint, a brown acrylic paint, and a khaki color if you want to have some stuff that makes it look like it's solid bone, because you don't want a white. That looks just too cheesy. And it works well for the teeth and everything like that too, if you want to take these teeth and make them look like yellow teeth that been in where the skull has been in the ground. And of course, like I said, this is going to be for a bigger project, a pit of hell, which you'll find the video at the end of this video by clicking on the link above or below, wherever it's going to be. And then of course you're going to need some paper towels, because once you get to the paint part of it, you're going to take the thing once it's corpsed up with the liquid latex and the cotton balls and the paint's on there. You're going to take the paint and whitewash it. Get it a little wet and wipe most of that paint away and reapply paint however many times you need to. You might only need to do it once. You might need to do it several times. It all depends on your personal preference. So let's get into corpsing up my skull and forearms. All right, so as you can see, I got my skull right here on the table. I got a few cotton balls. Everything else is sitting off to the side where you can't see. But I do have a few popsicles for spreading around. And of course, I have the liquid latex. And of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brush to help spread around the liquid latex too, because you want to spread this evenly over it. Now, this brush has been used quite a bit. It was used last year in another project, which you're not going to find filming on that because that's already been done and I can't undo it. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the skull and one hand aside. We're going to start with the hands and the forearm. So we're going to take one of these. Also, we're going to take one of these little cups here, the salsa cups. So we're going to pour some liquid latex into this. And again, you don't have to make it perfect. You don't have to do it the way that I do it. Find what works best for you. But what I'm going to do here is, again, make sure you have just in case something like that happens, but make sure you have a drop cloth or trash bags or something on your table so you don't get the table dirty. So what we're going to do is kind of lightly spread it on the forearm here. I'm not going to cover this whole forearm with stuff. I am going to actually take take a little bit here. And I forgot one other thing that would be great. You might want to wear some gloves. I'm not wearing gloves right now. But what you're going to do is I'm taking a little piece here and to show you what I'm doing here. And I took a piece of cotton ball, stretched it out like those cheap spider webs that you can get at the store, and I just put it on there. Now what I'm gonna also do is once that's done, I'm gonna cover this cotton ball that I stretched out over it with some more latex. Then I'm gonna take a popsicle stick and I'm gonna kind of use it to spread it around a little bit. I took a second to do this, so if you think your latex is dried up, and it does dry up pretty quickly, go ahead and add some more. Now, don't do a large section. Don't do this whole hand. You don't have to do underneath too much. Do a little section at a time, and then work with it from there. Once we get the cotton where we want it, stretched out how we want it, and you can see, hopefully you can see, it's looking like some flesh is still on the bone. Now, once you get that piece, then every piece after, make sure that you take your liquid latex, your brush, put a little bit of latex on there, and of course, it's going to want to move the cotton ball, or the piece of cotton that you got on there. That's why the popsicle sticks, to kind of smooth it out, stretch it out, how I make little lines, because it's going to take a little bit to dry too. So you want to pull this, while it's still wet, pull it apart is wherever you want it. Feel like you need to put this and make it look the way you want it. Now, I did on the bottom, I did not add that much because the top is where they're going to see the most. They're not going to see underneath because the hand's going to be like this. Now, there are going to be parts that I'm going to do a little more on the bottom because I do want it to make it look like there's flesh down here, because they're going to actually see some of this, but they're not going to see a whole lot of it. And I'm going to do that more up towards the hand here. All right, so a little fourth wall break. Now, because this hand is going to be down in, or at least this part of this is going to be down into the pit of hell for what I'm doing. But if you want it in the ground, you can go a little further back. But I'm not going that farther back because a lot of that's going to be standing up like that into the ground, but out of the palette. Like I said, a video will be at the end of this screen. All right, so as you can see, I have the hand done. Now, this stuff relatively dries pretty quickly. It still might be a little bit wet. You're gonna still get cotton ball and liquid latex all over the place. So as you can see, my forearm is done, and I did a little bit on the back, leaving little patches of opening to where it looks like you can see the bone a little bit. And where the bone is showing, that's where I'm going to add that tan khaki color acrylic paint. Once you got the arm done, set it aside and let it dry. All right, so now that we got the hands done, they're hardened and everything like that, the next thing we're going to work on is the skull. Now, as you can see, this skull has a gray look to it, and that's okay if you want to leave it that way, but I like to make it look extra spooky. So we're going to corpse up the thing. Now, another thing with this movable jaw, most have a screw here that you can take out, or you can pop that off somehow, and you can kind of make the jaw a little uneven. I am not going to do that with these skulls because I did it with another skull, but I'm not going to do it with these skulls. I am going to, however, leave the hands open. I'm going to put some latex over this area here and make it look like meat hanging off the jaw like that, for like this part of the mouth. But I'm gonna do this a little bit at a time. I'm gonna start off with the head because that's a wider area to work with. All right, so now we're gonna start with the skull. And then, like I said, you can start wherever you like and do this however you like, as I said earlier in the video. But what I'm going to start off with is the head, because it's easy. And again, you don't have to put every cotton balls on every inch. And another thing that works is you're not going to do the whole, lather up the whole head all at once. You are going to actually do a little section, and then you'll put the cotton balls on. Again, spreading it out, leave a little bit for bone color if you want to do. If you want to do the whole head and cover it in cotton balls or cotton sheets, go ahead. But I find that it looks creepier if you just do little bits here and there and leave some open spaces. So again, take cotton ball, roll it out, take a piece off of that cotton ball, and just spread it out. And again, you see that I left some space here where I'm gonna put bone color. I might move that over just a little bit. And then once you've done that, go over it with, dab it up on the cotton balls and spread this out to where you want it. So what you're gonna do now that you're got that dabbed up is you're gonna kind of spread it out a little bit. You don't want to spread out too much, but you want to spread it out a little bit here and there. Again, do it however you feel that you want it done. But as you can see, that bump is kind of gone away by me spreading it out. So as you can see, I have corpse the top of the head, or at least that portion of the head. We're going to speed up the video because this is going to take a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up the rest of the head. All right, so my skull is for the most part done. All I got now left to do is paint it. But before we paint it, we gotta let it dry for a little bit. Okay, so now that everything is done, you can see the hands look creepy. They're not skeleton looking, fake skeleton looking. You can see that the thing still moves, but this is dried. Everything is dried. Now I'm gonna go and put on the paint. And like I said, the paint, I'm using a acrylic brown, black, holiday red, because that looked a little more like blood to me, dried up blood to me. And then I'm using a khaki color for the bone color. Now, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use 3 different brushes. I'm going to start out with the black because we're going to cover it mostly with black as the base color. Then we're going to top it off with the brown. Now, another thing, you're going to want to use paper towels for washing them, and I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these cups, we're going to take the black. What we're going to do here is we're going to take a piece of paper towel, we're going to dip it in our water, drain it out of course. So again, put it on kind of evenly over the parts that you have put the cotton balls on, or cotton sheets, whatever you used. Try not to get too much of the bone area that you want to do. I mean, you can, but again, it's up to you on what you want to do with your artistic prowess on doing this. But again, I am gonna stop there for a second, and I'm gonna kind of wipe this, pull it, and you'll see what happens when I pull this and kind of wash this. Some of that cotton ball kind of shows through, and it kind of also spreads it apart. So again, we're just putting on the base color, and again, we just want to wash this away. As we don't want thick black is what I'm trying to say here, completely black. Now in the eye socket here, yeah, you can leave that pure black. But when you're doing corpsing, you want to kind of wash it off. Do it section by section. Don't do the whole thing and then try to wash it. You also want to take some dry and kind of pull it and dry it, because you don't want your skull wet either. And there is our skull, at least with the black. And we're gonna let that sit and dry for a few moments, and we'll be back to do the brown here in a moment. All right, so now that we have our skull completely dry and everything like that, or for the most part dry. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the black as we did the brown. But we're going to wash it a little more than the black. Because the black is, like I said, the base color. Now, you can use brown if you want all the way through, but I am just going to take the brown and kind of, like the black that you put on there. You're going to take and wash it. And again, not with a wet paper towel, but a dry paper towel with the brown. Black, you want it as thin as possible, but the brown, you want to have it a little more thicker so it stands out, but you don't want it too thick. And as you can see, brown compared to the black, now it's starting to look like it's been in the ground for a while. The black adds that little bit of shadow to it. Don't wipe too much of the brown off. You might need to go over it again, same spots over again, and add a second layer to it. But you do want that brown predominantly showing over the black. So again, like I said, you can do however you feel like you want to do it, but you can leave little spots of black there if you want it looking really charred. Like say you want to leave like this whole area black to give it that really charred look, or you can cover it completely in the brown after the black and make it look like it's dug up. So we're gonna do that basically. We're going to take the brown again and then wash it, what we call washing it, but you're just wiping quite a bit of the paint off to allow some of that black to show through to give it that shadow. And again, you can see it really starting to look like it's been in the ground for quite a while. So let's speed this up. All right, so now that we got this with the brown on there, you can see it looks like it's been in the ground for quite a while. Now we're going to add that fleshy red color to it, but we're going to let this dry for a moment. Okay, so now that our skull is fairly dry, so now we're going to add the flesh color and we're going to add the bone color to it. And we're going to add the meat color, the red, and we're going to add the bone color, the khaki. And we're going to take the red and we're going to add in like spots like right here. We're going to add that red into it, kind of get it real thick for a moment. And then we're going to take a paper towel and immediately wipe and just find different little spots. You don't have to do the whole skull, just find little spots where you want it to look like meat showing through or some red flesh showing through, and then take it and wash it. And you might need to put on a second coat of it depending on this part. It looked like it was wiping off a lot of it. You can see that it still looks like bone. Same with this little area because I didn't put the cotton balls right there. So back to the red, and I'm gonna hit a couple of other spots like right here, right here, right here, and you can see the red into it. Like I said, it's gonna be wiped off, and just kind of wash it with a dry paper cloth, kind of give it that meaty look. Now you're not going to add too much of that bone color. Bone color I might leave a little bit thicker than what I do the red. And you can see how the skull is looking now. It's kind of got that meaty flesh to the top of the skull. We're going to add that in different parts of the skull as well. Make a mistake, don't worry about it. Make it your own. Again, as you can see, everything is coming along nicely. The hands, we're going to do the same way. But now that we got the skull to where we want it, we don't have to wait for the paint to dry on the red because we're going to just be doing the teeth. And this, you're not going to wash. You're just going to put it on there and let it dry because you want those teeth to kind of stick out. And you can see the difference between the front, the top teeth and the bottom teeth. That's what you kind of want it to look like. Now, if you want to leave it like that, if you got one of these skulls, again, the link will be in the description where you can get these hands and this skull. And so there is your skull. You're going to do these hands the same way you did the skull as far as painting. Go with a black to start off with, then the brown, and then little bits of red for meaty flesh looking, and then of course the bone color wherever you want it, especially on the fingers. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial video. Leave a comment down below if you got any tips that you want to provide, or what you think of corpsing the skeleton and everything like that. And again, a link will be in the description for the hands, this whole set, the hands and the skull. And I'll leave the colors that I use and other material that I use in the description. So happy hunting, stay spooky, my friends. Goodbye.